Welcome to Jenny's Way. Today we're getting real with awesome conversation that is all about leveling up your life, no fluff, just straight value. I'm Jenny, your host, and today joining me is Mare, here to break down what it really takes to live a life full of joy, love, and community. We're talking about figuring out what you actually want, holding yourself accountable, and directing your energy to handle whatever life throws at you. If you want to feel more alive, more connected, this episode is for you. Let's jump in and make it happen. Welcome to Jenny's Way. I'm so delighted and excited to introduce Mare App. She is amazing. Oh my God, she is so amazing the words can't describe. She is a coach, entrepreneur, and the founder of Conscious Project 360. Now, of course, if I'm not saying it correct, she will correct me. I am so delighted to have you, my friend. And yes, I can call you Frank, and yes, I can call you amazing. What a treat to have Mare App on Jenny's Way.
Hi, Jenny. Thank you. I am looking forward to our conversation today. Very excited about it. And we met in a podcasting class, and so we both have podcasts, and I find that really contributing to the world, sharing our stories. And so I appreciate the opportunity to have a conscious conversation with you today.
Wow. One of the $1 million questions everybody have on their mind, and I feel like you're the best person to answer it. How do we live our best life? How do we even determine or figuring out what is our best life?
The more you feel joy, the more you know you're living your best life. That doesn't mean 24 hours, 7. That means how quickly can you get back into feeling good, having good thoughts, even when it seems like the world is falling apart or your world is falling apart. It could be personal. It could be what's happening in your community. It could be what's happening in the world. How quickly can you get back to feeling good, having a moment of holding and sustaining the vibration of love? And joy's kind of the ticket into, or the doorway into, love.
So well said. And there's so much going on in our communities in our world right now. Being able to have that inner joy and inner life that we can share with other people is so critical. Look at what's happening. We have a disaster happening in Western North Carolina. My love is going to all of you, and we'll do what we can to support you. And we're here for you. And what's going on internationally? Oh my God. What do we do every day? How do we even wake up into midst of what's happening in the world?
In my opinion, from my point of view, we're here to hold and sustain the vibration of love. There was a scientist named Dave Hawkins, I believe. He wrote Power versus Force. And what he talked about is that when we hold and sustain the vibration of love, we affect 750,000 other people.
Oh, wow.
And we can do that through meditation. When we're plugged into fear, oh my gosh, the hurricane's coming, or oh my gosh, look at all the devastation after the hurricane, or oh my gosh, the war in the Middle East has escalated. What's happening in Russia and Ukraine? What's happening in the African Congo, etc. I mean, there's a lot of things happening throughout the world. When we plug into fear, we affect 9 people. Fear is a lower vibration. It's heavier. So it only affects 9 people. When you hold and sustain the vibration of love, it's like you throw a pebble in the water and there's ripples of waves. The energetics of love spread out to 750,000 other people. That's what we can do about the disasters. That's what we can do about the wars. That's what we can do about politics. That's what we can do about our family dynamics, is meditate and hold and sustain the vibration of love. Now, the truth is, no human can be holding and sustaining the vibration of love 24/7. We don't get
Absolutely, yeah.
excused from the human experience. But the question
Really?
was, what can
We
we
don't get
do?
we don't get excuse from human experience.
We signed up for it.
Oh,
We
how
all signed
exciting!
up.
We get to see the triumph and tribulation and success and failures, and it's not really failures. And who to say we're not perfect and what is perfect and all of that? We sign up for that?
We signed up for it. We
Huh.
signed up for it. I believe that the human experience is all about feeling, all the whole range of feelings. When we, in my opinion, when we all go back to being the divine spirit that we are, it's all neutral. There's no charge. There's no emotion. There's no good, bad, right, wrong. It just is. The human experience is all about feeling and assigning meaning
Mm.
to what is happening. So I choose to find as much joy as possible. I choose to meditate and hold and sustain the vibration of love for as long as I can and however many seconds I can do it, because in those seconds I am contributing a love vibration to the world. So that's what I do. That's how. Are you living your best life? How much are you contributing to the rest of joy and love to the rest of the world?
Mm.
That's how you know.
That's so amazing. He said, did you all know, whoever listened, that if you hold the vibration of love, you affect what, 750,000 people? I
Yes.
didn't know. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Dr. David Hawkins, in his book Power versus Force, all that research is in there. So you can look
Wow.
at it.
Wow. Okay, now we know. Thanks for letting us know, Mayor. And meditation, probably one of the best ones, but what other things like saying gratitude, like connecting to nature?
Yes, I think it's not exactly the same for each person. You have to find what fills you up, what fills you with joy, what adds to your joy fuel tank. What fuels me up might not fuel you up. So you do have to figure out who you are, what you love, and do more of that.
Hmm. How do you combine that with other responsibility? What about the time management? How you can fit all those pieces together?
You make yourself a priority.
Oh, really?
Well,
For a lot of
yeah.
people, that's a new concept, especially busy entrepreneurs, that handling 20,000 tasks at a time and don't think that anybody else can do as good of a job as they can and afraid to delegate. How do you manage all of that?
For me, it's about being in connection circles.
Mm-hmm.
Where so I am in a podcasting accountability group with you, for example. And so we get together, the group, and we talk about where we are in the podcast creation space, what worked, what didn't work, that are, we want to give up sometimes.
Who
And we
us?
bring
No.
that story to our circle, and we go, is that true? Do you really want to give up? No, I'm just frustrated. This didn't
Frustrated.
work, and I'm just kind of over it right now. Okay, it's okay to take a break for 24 hours, and then let us know what your next step is. So it's about because we are having the human experience. Human connection is vital to our joy, our love, and what we contribute to the world.
Mm.
So when I am in the place of my human experience of not being good enough or not being worthy or not measuring up or I'm aware I'm plugged into the fear of the escalating wars or I have a friend who lives in Asheville, North Carolina. That was very real and personal for me.
My heart goes out to her and everybody else.
Thank you. Thank you. And she and her dog were safe.
Oh,
And she was
yes.
able to drive to her sister's house after a while. What, not right away, but after a while. So she is safe. And it made it very personal what was happening.
Right.
You know, so I was definitely plugged into some fear. Is my friend alive? Is my friend okay? And what do? I would call you and ask for support, or I send a bat signal. We call it the bat signal, but it's really just an emoji. And we each have, mine's a dragon. And so if I'm struggling and I don't have the words to tell you what I'm struggling about, I just send my dragon, and the group knows that I'm struggling. And then you send me emojis or words of encouragement, and that's enough. That's enough to be like a life preserver in that moment of struggle, to go, okay, this will pass. Next.
Yeah. How do we uncover our true desires? How do we know it's not from our parents, our community? How do we know it's our true desire?
Well, I think that you don't know day one. I think it's the analogy people use sometimes in relationships or life is the onion, where you peel a layer and that you think that this is yours, and so you show up for a holiday, or you show up for work on time, or you show up to your place of religion, or you show up to get an education, depending on where you live, your family values, your religious values, your community values, the country that you live in or came from. All of those pieces contribute to the unconscious patterns that run you. And most people stay in the unconscious patterns until they begin to ask the questions. Is this really mine? What do I want? And that's part of what I do in the Connection Project 360. We work with people we start with your list of the 50 things you want to do to live your best life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a living list, meaning it can change. You have permission to change it every day if you want to change it every day, every week if you want to change it every week, once a year, once every 6 months, whatever works for you as you're doing it. But you do it in community, so we hold each other accountable. You might be struggling, and I might say to you, Jenny, when was the last time you went to the beach?
Mm-hmm.
And you just listen to the waves, listen to the water. Because what I know, and I don't, we've never met in person, we've only met on Zoom, but we have been supporting each other for almost a year in our podcast journeys. What I know is that you shared about how being near the water of an ocean fills you up with peace and calm. And so if you're struggling, that might be something I say to you. When are you going to the beach? Tell me when you're going to the beach. Tell me about the last time you were at the beach. Even you repeating the story, pulling the story from your memory and telling me about being at the last time you were at the beach, the cells in your body relive that story, and you benefit from the joy, from the peace and the calm that was generated from that beach visit. So that's an example.
That's why we have the accountability partners and accountability groups. We grow together and we support each other. Why do you think it's so important for us humans to be connected to community, have friends, and have great social connections overall?
I think that's the inherent makeup of the human experience is connection. And knowing what people's dreams are helps me be accountable to show up and contribute to those that matter to me, whether it's family or my accountability groups or my friend circles or my work circles. And I think I've shared this story with you before about how it all started. I heard a story about two women. One was telling the story about how she met her friend in high school.
Mm-hmm.
One lived in Tennessee, one lived in New York. Tennessee's dad was getting his medical doctor degree. I mean, he had the schooling and then he had to go to his residency assignment was New York. So he moved his family from Tennessee to New York. That's where these two women met. Well, they were girls. They were 14 probably at the time that they met. And when Tennessee moved to New York, she thought it was magic. There were so many things to see and so many things to do. And girls at the age of 14, in my experience, has been, they talk about their life dreams. They talk about boys. They talk about everything.
Yeah.
And Tennessee's dream was to someday go to Europe. And so she enrolled New York, every event that they did, every festival they went to, every walk they took in New York, she created in her mind a European experience. So, for example, she talked, they talked their moms into taking them to a 5-star hotel to have tea with the Queen of England. Now, really, they just had a high tea experience and they got all dressed up. But the story they told, their imagination claimed the dream of having tea with the Queen of England. Another event that happens in Denver, I don't really know New York, is the stock show. It happens once a year. And so Tennessee calls New York and says, hey, let's go to the stock show. Wear your cowboy boots and a hat and bring a clipboard. So New York shows up to the event. And Tennessee says, let's inspect the bulls and choose the ones that are going to run this year in the running of the bulls in Spain.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they do. Now, at 14, I'm guessing, and I don't know that they knew anything about cows, they just picked their favorite colors, right? Or the one that had the beautiful eye. But they played. Everything that they did, Tennessee would figure out how it connected her to Europe. Fast forward, she's married. Her husband's company sends him to Paris for a conference, and she's going to fly over when the conference is over, and they're going to spend an extra week after the conference together. It'll be her first stamp in her passport.
Oh, wow.
And the plane blows up over the ocean,
Okay.
and nobody survives. The girl who's telling the story, New York's telling the story, what she says is, my friend lived her European dream every day. Because she found the connection of how having an experience at a 5-star hotel high tea experience was like having tea with the Queen of England, etc. So even though she never physically stepped foot on European soil, she did have her European dream. That was the message. And I was like, oh my gosh, what's my dream? I don't know what it is. I have 6 sisters. I don't know what any of their dreams are. I didn't know what my mom's dreams were. I didn't know what my friends' dreams were. So I gathered them all together and I asked them to bring a list of the 10 things they wanted to do, because I didn't know what their dreams were. And so everybody brought a list and they made a copy for everyone who was going to be there because I wanted to have that copy. And then I put them on the back. I was going to college at the time, and my college roommate and we put everybody's lists on the back of the door to our apartment. And before we went to class or we went to work, we would read one of those lists out loud and then go out into the world And because we were reading those lists out loud, things began to show up that allowed us to support our friends and our family members' dreams. I wasn't making things up anymore. I wasn't guessing what your dream was. I happen to know you that the beach fills you up because you've shared that story.
Right.
And so I might see in a magazine a beautiful picture of a beach, sunset at a beach, and I would
A
take
beach
it out of
house.
the magazine and I would mail it to you, right? And just say, Jenny, I'm imagining you getting filled up with this beautiful sunrise or sunset at a beach. That's it. That's all. And just so that you know that I'm thinking of you and that I'm supporting your dream. That's how it works.
That's amazing. The lesson from the story is you have to live your dream every day as much as you can, and it's not as difficult as it might seem. Don't wait until you get there. There's a ways of being connected to that dream of yours every single day.
Yes, and it's about knowing what your dream is, so you're claiming it, you're writing it down, and you're sharing it with other people, so they, like an accountability group, they hold you accountable. You know, so if you're in the pity party of doom and gloom because you don't know whether you should stay at your job or not, we can come in and nudge you, because when you have 50 things on your list, I might not be able to support you in all of those, but there will be something on a list of 50 that I can go, oh, I can support Jenny on this. I can support Jenny's dream to be a international podcast success. I can show up and be interviewed by you. I can refer other people to you. I can listen to the what's working and what's not, and tell you what's working and what's not for me, and we can learn from each other. I can support your podcasting dream.
And that's what's one of the biggest thing is like a couple of biggest things, like then you can send that bad signal, like when you feel like you're in trouble, that you know there's other people will support you. And then like Mare just said, she won't not be able to support all 50 things on your list, but there will be some important thing that she said, yeah, I can do that, I can help with that. But then will be other people in that circle say, oh, but I can do that and I can do this, and together we have that collective wisdom and energy, then we can make most of the dreams come true. Is it going to happen overnight? No. Do you have to hold the dream uh, close to your heart just about every single day? Yeah. Do you have to do some action? Absolutely. But then if you don't take the action, we don't feel like we're growing and evolving.
I would agree with that. And it doesn't look exactly the same for each person.
No.
And but it is about getting clear on what you want, writing it down and sharing it with others. Now it could be on, just typing it in an email. It doesn't necessarily have to be, on paper. And sharing it with others. That's really critical, because I can't guess what your dreams are or how to support you unless you're talking to me, communicate, or sharing your list with me. But when you do, then you can get support. Here's an example. There's a girl in one of my circles who she wrote her list and she put it on her refrigerator, so that every day when she went to make food for her family, she would see her own list. Well, her brother was living with them at the time, and so her husband and her brother started to read this list, and they go, oh, we could do this, and we could do this, and we can do this. And so they started to create ways in which my friend could actually experience the dreams that were on her list.
So they were supporting the environment only because they knew what she wanted. So
yes,
the things
only because they knew. Yes.
But then a lot of people don't even have a clarity of what they really want. You said 50, They might not even know 5 things. So that's one thing. The first things you have to clarify for yourself and be honest with yourself. Say, okay, those are the things that I want, and dream big. As you and I talked before, dream big. Who's to say that whatever your dream is not realistic? But it is. You may not be able to reach it today, but looking forward to the future, excited about the things you're going to do to get there, that's what makes it life more enjoyable and more exciting. And then when you have the joy and excitement, number one, you bring up energy, your energy. But then, like we started our interview, we said once you bring up your energy, you increase the energy of your community
Mhm.
and people that you touch, because the
Yes.
energy is affecting other people more than people realize. They say, "Oh well, I'm just one person. Doesn't matter whether I'm sad, grumpy, angry, frustrated." But it does.
It absolutely does. Yeah, it does. And it's interesting that today is actually National Smile Day.
Oh gosh, that's so.
Yes, it is. And I remember back when I was a lot younger and I was working at a retail store. I was a cashier. And there was a big sale, and so the lines are long, and there was an older gentleman who was very unhappy about being in the line waiting, and a little girl, and he was complaining out loud, right? And a little girl pulled on his coat, and he looks down and he's really gruff, and he's like, "What do you want?" And she said, she took a smiley face button off of her coat and she handed it to him and she said, "This will help you smile." And he took the button and he put it on his coat and he didn't complain the rest of the time in that line. So yes, we can all make a difference.
And you don't know who need that smile, who need that message that day.
Mhm.
Oh, that smile could change their whole life trajectory. What if they
Yes.
were depressed and were considering things not, they're not supposed to be even considered? And that
Mhm.
one smile can change their whole day and the rest of their life.
Yes.
That's why you have to be aware of your internal state, how your thoughts, uh, your energy, and being able to give love to yourself so you can give love to other people.
Yes.
And how does that affect you as a business owner, entrepreneur? How is that important to have that mindset of love and excitement and higher vibration energy and all of that?
Well, because I'm having a human experience, I have the whole roller coaster of emotions. I'm not like in holding and sustaining the vibration of love 24/7. If I was, I would no longer be in my human form. I would be divine energy. What's different for me is I've practiced enough, I'm aware of it. And so when I become conscious that I'm struggling in business or I'm struggling in a family relationship or I'm scared about the war or I'm scared about politics or I'm scared that my friend isn't, could have perished in the hurricane in Asheville, I meditate. When I become
Mm.
conscious, I breathe, take 3 deep breaths in and out. I might just sing a song because when you sing, you can't think and sing at the same time. So sometimes singing or chant, that's why you chant when you meditate, right? Because when you're singing, when you're singing, you can't think. It's one or the other in your brain. That calms my nervous system down enough to go, okay, what else is possible?
Mm.
What else is possible? I need to send my bat signal. I don't have the words. I'll send my bat signal to my accountability group, and within moments, they send support back. And it might just be a heart emoji so that I know I'm not alone in my suffering moment. I'm like, okay, what else is possible? What else is possible? What else is possible? I could take a walk. I could take a walk in nature in this moment. I could unplug from all, and I do this every day. I unplug from all electronics, meaning communication electronics. No phone, no computer, no television, no radio. My refrigerator is still plugged in, so I am using electricity. I'm really talking about the communication pieces. I
Distraction.
unplug from all of that for 90 days in the middle of a workday.
For how
That
long?
helps me anchor and center, and I does it happen 100% every day, every week? No, there are things that sometimes I choose to bump that 90 minutes shorter or off my schedule, but most of the time it's there, and that helps me regulate my nervous system so that I can show up for my community, I can show up for myself, I can show up for my business, I can show up to support the dreams of my friends.
May I clarify for people that doesn't understand what that means? Regulate your nervous system.
A great question. For me, it's if I am aware that I'm feeling fear, or I'm feeling not good enough, or I'm feeling not worthy, or I'm feeling so sad that I can't seem to make a decision. I become aware that my internal energetics of my human container are frazzled. In order to make healthy decisions and contribute joy, or quickly get back to at least a kernel of joy or a kernel of love, I breathe, I meditate, I take a walk in nature, I unplug from electronics and connect to the peace and calm of my human experience so that I can make choices, conscious choices.
So if you feel stuck and don't know which direction you're going to go, that means you're not in harmony, in your energetic harmony, or you're not, your body is out of balance, out of alignment, whatever you want to call it. But when you know what decision to make, and you're eager and excited about what the day is going to bring, then you know that you're on the right path. But sometimes it's difficult for us as humans to figure out what is the right path and how do you know. And I think the way we feel is actually our indicator whether we are on the right path or not. I've struggled with that myself. How do I know this way to go or that way to go? And I think I would ask you, I think one time we had a conversation, you would say, well, then you would know because you know how you feel. And then if you don't know how it would feel, then you kind of use your imagination. You envision, okay, if I go this way, how would it feel? Because we as humans have the greatest gift, and a lot of people not using it as a great gift. We have a power of thinking and a power of envisioning. We have intellectual ability of envisioning things that we want to create. Those how the biggest creators in the world created everything that we have today. Would that be the books, the computer, the iPhone, Galaxy, or either phones or any computer, even electricity, anything that we have today in our modern world was created by one of us.
Yes. And what I would add to that is no human has to do it alone.
No. And it's
That's
nearly
also
impossible to succeed alone. Because what happens when you have a bad moment? What do? Who do you send you a bad signal?
I said my bad signal. I sent my signal out, right? Yeah, that's what I do. But
I
I have groups that I can send that out to because I show up. I show up and I'm willing to ask for what I need. I'm willing to actually receive what I need. And I'm willing to give to others. And it's those three things: ask for what you need, be willing to receive it, and then give.
that,
Give to
that's
others.
one of the things that you guys do in conscious circle. Tell us more. Like, well, are you saying that people are afraid to ask for what they want?
I
And
think when people start, because one of the questions that you ask me is, how do you know what you want, right? How do you know
mm-hmm.
what your dreams are, etc. When you come to Circle, a conscious connection circle or a connection accelerator, we help you uncover and create your list of 50 things. And then we begin to work with those, we call them living intentions. We begin to work with those living intentions. And when we work with those living intentions, you begin to go, oh, this doesn't fit. This is what my mom wanted. This isn't me. Or this is what my teacher said I had to do, or my religious leader said I had to do, and that's not working for me. I'm going to try this on. It's trial and error, and it's a living list, because as long as we're human, we keep changing and
Changing.
shifting,
Mm-hmm.
and so your dreams move and shift and change.
Well,
And
once
so
you
it's
agree
about
what you wanted 5 years ago may not necessarily what you want now, for different reasons. Maybe you already accomplished it and you want new goals. Maybe you change and say, oh, this is no longer important to me. I want to do something different. Like looking back 5 years ago,
mhm.
I never asked you actually that. Did you wanted to do a podcast 5 years ago, or is it more like in the last year or two? See,
Yeah, no, I didn't even know what a podcast was.
see,
No,
see,
no.
that's what I'm saying. We evolve, expand, and it will change. Like Mare said before. Okay, can you change it every day? Absolutely. Would you recommend it? Probably not. You want to focus on that list for a while, whatever that is. But if you look at it as long term, a year, a 3 or 5, or even longer, it will change. And if it doesn't, you're not expanding. It's okay. And people are afraid that oh, what if I want something else in 6 months? Okay, that's
Awesome.
great.
Go for it. And to your point, um, a lot of the groups that I've been in for decades. I've helped others start their own groups, but the ones I've been in for decades. We change as humans, and we do accomplish some of the things. And so we have a to-do list. And so I'm just pretending, that you're sad in this moment. And so and you're in my circle, and I would say, Jenny, pull out your to-do list and read it to me. And then you pull out and you begin to read all the things that you have accomplished over the years. And you're like, oh my gosh, I'm amazing. I'm like, yes, you are
Oh, yes.
amazing. So
Yeah,
you get
no,
to
we forget.
relive and reactivate those feelings, because they're in your cells. It's like a library in your mind, and you're just pulling one of those books off the shelf and rereading it, and you get to relive that amazing story about how you were at the beach listening to the water, and it filled you with peace and calm.
Oh, or yeah, that felt amazing. And how maybe it was the first time I ever did the interview. How flipping anxious I was, freaking out. What are we gonna talk? And I swear I had the list. I sent it to the guest of questions, and I'm like, what's the next question? It's like, oh well, what if he goes that way? How do I get back to that question? And really, those moments are kind of like, oh wow, looking back, I have learned, I have accomplished, and you and I both we're in what top 10% podcasters in what first couple of months.
Yeah.
Is it happened by accident? I don't know, maybe, or maybe because we put in the work.
We showed up. We showed up.
Consistently showing up.
And we showed up messy.
Yeah.
If you go back, to the beginning ones, they're not as good as the ones are today. But they're still good. They're still good.
They're still good.
It's
they're good for that moment.
Yes. They're just getting better and better.
Yeah, but like anything else, nobody born to be a master of anything. That would be like golf, swimming, none of the sports, they put in the hours. The same for the artists, the painters. Like,
yes,
even if you have a talent, you have to continue to develop your skills. Skills is one thing, talent is different. Can you get to a certain point without a talent, just having the skills? Maybe, maybe not. But if you combine the talents and the skill, and how do you even know you have the talent unless you go and explore? That was one of the other things that I want to say. People say, you're so good as the host. And I have a funny story to say from very recent. So you're so good as a host. It's like, I didn't know. How was I supposed to know? If you never done it before, how would you know you're good at something? Now, have I had to, continuously prepare it and work on my skills? Yes. It was very, that comes the story. So I was doing networking a few days ago, and I was just having a conversation like I normally do. Love to ask questions. I'm curious about everybody. I'm genuinely curious. That's probably why I'm good at and love doing podcasting as the host. And she's like, oh, you're so good. You have the eye contact. You listen. You must be an introvert. And I start laughing. I said, me, introvert? Oh, gosh, no. I am as extrovert as it gets. I love the attention. I like being on stage. I like being in front of the camera. That's what I love to do since I was a little girl. So being in front of the camera and being on stage, it comes naturally to me. But being on stage and being in front of the camera are two different things. They're not the same, because you have to do that. You have to sound differently when you're on stage or when you're in front of the camera. There's a big difference. However, I am extrovert and I love the attention. And that goes to tell her, okay, great, thank you. However, I haven't been that way a year ago. I am now, because I've determined to be the best host I can possibly be. And to be the greatest host, one of the most difficult things to do is to be able to listen, actively listen. She said, oh, that's interesting. I would never tell that you're an extrovert. See, we can learn different things if we choose to. That's one of the things. Like, it is interesting how we evolve and change, but that's something that we have to choose to do and continuously work on it and show up consistently and messy at the beginning. Sometimes it's messy, even not at the beginning. Technology will fail you. Speaking of technology, we did the interview before, and it split up in 5 different pieces, and there was not even an ending. And I told Mare, okay, it's been long enough. It's difficult to stitch those pieces together for listeners to have a great experience. I said, why don't we just do another interview or create even a better experience? We are creators. That moment was perfect, but I'm sure this moment it will be even more perfect.
Agreed. Yes. Yes.
So seeing every time you have something that have not come out the way you plan, is it really the worst thing ever? Or you can create something even bigger and better in that particular moment. Kind of step back and say, okay, well, that didn't happen. Is that the end of the world? No. I can do something better with the time that I schedule for whatever that thing was. Or even if you're stuck in the traffic, or maybe you needed to hear a message, or your favorite podcast, or your favorite YouTube channel, or the books maybe you're listening. Yeah, you wouldn't be reading, Or maybe you sort of somebody to say, oh my God, I haven't connected with my aunt. Let me call her and check on her, or my neighbor, whatever the case might be. So seeing a different side of the situation is like, you know, what they say, seeing it from a half full or half empty. It's this in every situation. Can that be things that are difficult to nearly impossible to replace? Of course, but you still have to figure out a way to move on, and that's where the friendship and connection and someone to text or call comes in. You have to build that network before anything goes wrong. Hopefully nothing will ever go wrong. You just share the greatest moment of your journey together. But that's life. Things happens.
Every human's going to have ups and downs.
Yeah.
There's no straight line.
That brings me to I feel like sometimes we don't feel our happiest, or we don't live a life of our dreams because of our expectations are too high. Can you expect too much of yourself of others? And I feel like I have lived through this. I had expected too much of myself, and I still do, and I get more aware of that now. It's like, oh, I gotta do this and this and this. But what if I don't? What if I do it tomorrow? What's going to happen? Oh, you'll be fine. So when you first is having that awareness, I said, why am I judging myself? Why do I expect so much of myself? But what about the other people? What if they're having a bad moment and you expect them, a bad day or a bad week, you expect them to get something done? Would you get angry, or would you kindly ask them what's going on and have the open-ending questions? See, it's all about our perspective and belief, how it can shift your whole life trajectory if you have those awareness and know how to deal with certain situations. What's your thoughts on that?
I think you're talking about the human experience. It's an experiment. We
We're
don't.
an experiment.
It's an experiment. I believe that life is a series of surprise parties. I
Yay.
know the surprise party's coming, but I don't know where it's going to be. I don't know who's going to be at the party. I don't know what the theme is going to be. But there's a surprise party around every corner in living your human life. So what you're talking about, all those things, yes, it's all over the place, and it's a surprise. We don't get to know the end. Well, the end of the story is that our human body dies, and whatever you believe,
Whatever you believe in.
from that point forward. But in between your human death, you don't know everything that's going to go on, and you don't get to know. That's part of the experience. That's part of
Isn't
the
it part of the
experiment.
excitement?
And there's a conscious question that I ask myself.
Uh-huh.
And this is from Peter J. Hughes, an author. He wrote, At One-Ment, Reclaiming Our Humanity. The conscious question is, what is this experience, person, situation trying to show me, the seeing of which will change everything? Inviting me to take a dip. I might have responded to something in an unconscious, like you were talking about, from how my ancestors would protect me, or how my religion or my education or my community or
How's
my
it go? What is that experience showing me?
what is this trying to show me, the seeing of which will change everything?
Okay.
This isn't mine. It might be mine though, but this isn't mine. I can't do anything in this. Well, what can I do about the escalation of war around the world today?
Send the
I
love
can
to
raise
everybody.
my vibration, raise my vibration to love, and hold and sustain that vibration for as long as I can. Because that will spread out to 750,000 other people. That's what I can do today. What I can do today, I don't live in North Carolina, but what I can do to support my community is I can bring cases of water to the food bank. So I'm supporting people in my community, something I can humanly do in this moment, as an extension of if I were in North Carolina and I could bring them fresh, safe drinking water, that's what I would do. But I'm not anywhere near that. I live more on the West Coast than the East Coast in the United States. So, but I can bring water to the food bank, which is what my husband and I did this morning. So that's something I can do.
What
Did
can
that
you
help?
do today? Yes, what can you do today with what you got? That's basically what boils down. And I am in North Carolina, and we have contacted the organization. And my husband is licensed drone pilot. He will be helping them out. I've contacted a couple of people that we're going to do a big fundraising. We're working on details, and I told him I will contact all the coaches that I know and the speakers. We will figure something out big. You know me, I like things big. Whatever I can do, the biggest impact I can make for people, I'll be there. And
I
that's
like.
being open. That's being connected to the people. And if I didn't go to that particular networking event where I met the guy that's from Asheville that literally feels the pain and knows the pain and knows the people that can need direct support, I wouldn't be able to do that. So being open to the opportunities, as one of my guests said, the opportunity always knocks out there. You have to say, who is there? Welcome it in. What can you do today with what you got, with who you know, with resources that you have? It doesn't matter whether you're across the country or across the world, you can still make a difference.
Yes.
And doesn't matter how many people you affect. But of course, you know me, I like to do things big, but it doesn't have to be big. Every single things that you can do with what you have or what you got makes a difference. And it could be calling somebody or texting somebody who you know in that area that I'm thinking about you, sending my love.
Yeah.
They
It
might
could
not
be
be able.
looking into your eyes today and me smiling.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't cost me anything. It's an authentic connection, and it is it's a small gesture, but it is filled with love.
Mm-hmm. Love energy is the most powerful energy, one of the most powerful energy out there. And speaking of smile and love, do you recall the funniest situation you ever been in, so we can get our listeners laughing, that you would like to share the funniest? It doesn't have to be business related, or it can be.
Funniest thing. I don't know how funny this is, but a story I remember when I was 7. I was at my dad's business company's annual picnic,
Mm-hmm.
and they had pony rides. I love horses.
Ah,
And the
see,
teenagers
I didn't
were
know that.
I love horses. And so I was riding the ponies, and I kept standing in line, getting another ride, standing in line, getting another ride till all the other kids were done, but I wasn't. And so so the teenagers who were leading the ponies around were talking to each other, and one says, "Hey, you see that man over there in the maroon shirt?" And I look, and she says, "My dad says that man's the worst man in the company." And I said, "That's my dad."
Oops.
And I jumped off that pony and I ran and told my dad that there were enemies in his company. And he was super kind and sweet, and I was very upset about it. And he said, "It's not true. It's not true." So that's what came up when you asked me that question.
Cool. That's interesting. Mare, you've been a coach and entrepreneur for a long time. If people feel stuck and they want to start their entrepreneurial journey, what would be the best advice you can give them?
I would say get clear on what your dreams are.
Mm.
Get clear on what your dreams are, and you can come to Connection Project 360, sign up for the waiting list. We do help people go through a process to get clear on what their dreams are, and if they so choose, they can be in a support group, a connection group, so that they can bring some of those dreams forward. But bottom line, you don't need the group, you don't need our company. You can do it. You can create your list. There's lots of things online. There's lots of books, but you can create your bucket list. That's how you can start. And I invite you to do it in connection with others. I think Toastmasters is a great way to get connected in your communities, because you can talk about they don't even have to know all of your dreams, but you can bring your entrepreneur idea into Toastmaster speeches and try it on.
Yeah.
Practice and see if it really does fit you. See how it lands with a public audience.
Mm-hmm.
Get the feedback.
Test it, experiment, and be willing to pivot and change. If maybe just a little tweaking doesn't mean the whole idea is not, a great idea, but you might need some tweaking.
Yes.
One of my themes and or slogans or tagline, however you want to call it, your uniqueness is your superpower. How would you infuse uniqueness into whatever you're creating?
I think that one of my superpower, or if I were a superhero, right, I would be the dream connector.
All right.
I help people connect to their dream and then realize their dream. That's my superpower. Dream connector.
Yeah. So first of all, they need to find what their superpower is. Because everybody have their unique gifts. But again, like I said earlier, if you don't try to figure out what they are, you may never know what they are. You just have to experiment and be open to find out, well, that's maybe not my superpower. Maybe that's not my uniqueness. We'll figure out and keep experimenting until you do know. And then you will love what you do when you in your superpower. You will love every minute of what you do. Like I love every minute of doing podcasting. And I said, oh, wow, why is it taking me so long to get there? Because, I don't know. I didn't know I wouldn't like it. That kind of thing. So though it brings back to another point, like don't judge yourself or regret what you didn't do or did do, it didn't work out. You just keep experimenting.
Judging ourselves is part of the human experience. We are going to judge ourselves. It's about
I do that.
Recognizing, okay, I'm judging myself, and what's next? What can I do about it?
Mm-hmm.
What's next? Oh my gosh, I'm going to have a pity party. Great, have a pity party.
Pity party.
Have a celebration party, or a celebration moment. Or I'm stuck. I'm sad. I don't have words. I send my bat signal to my friends, and I get immediate support. No words are needed. I think what else is possible?
What else is possible? I love that question.
Yeah, what else is possible?
Mare, if you could be remembered by one thing, what would it be?
That I gave people a formula to give themselves permission to live their best life.
Wow, that's amazing. Love it. How would you summarize our conversation? We've taken it to so many different angles, and
I feel like the summary of this conversation is that we both showed up for each other. Mm-hmm. That we are friends because we showed up in a podcasting class and chose to support each other in an accountability group. The class is long over. We still show up every month in that group to support each other's dream. And that's what this conversation is about. It's about supporting each other's dreams. It's about saying, what is our dream? So that you know what my dream is, I know what your dream is, and we're letting the world know what our dreams are to make a difference in the world through stories. Podcast. Know what your dreams are. Claim your dreams. Share your dreams with others. Safe group. I mean, you do need to share your dream. Know that it's not somebody who's going to sabotage your dreams. And you do need to be discreet about who you share your dreams with.
Absolutely.
But share them. Find your people.
Mm-hmm. And one of the things I have re-listened to I do listen to my interviews that I do every now and again. Especially I had to interview someone that coming back on season 2. Yeah. Oh, the Secret Out of the Box season 2 coming soon. And so one of those things, and that brought my memory back when I'm brave and I'm not afraid to ask for what I want. It just shows up. Then it brought, when you started talking about how we met, I wasn't assigned to you guys. Do you remember? I was assigned to a group that wasn't meeting. And I happened to say, oh, well, what can you adopt me? Ask for. And Carolee said yes, and you said yes, of course. So it's not exactly what's hand is given to you. You can change it. I was a prime example. I was assigned to a completely different group, and they weren't doing anything. They were just like, but that's okay. I'm not going to judge them. Whatever you want, you ask for it. And sometimes even for me, it's difficult. I have to remind myself, just ask for what you want. You never know what would be the response. People be willing to help, especially if they see your passion, why you want to do it.
Yeah, well, and I feel really lucky. I'm really grateful that you were willing to ask for what you wanted.
Thank you.
You gave us the gift to say yes. You gave us the gift of getting to know you. You gave us the gift of doing the podcast journey messy together. And we are all doing well in our accountability group.
Yes, we're all doing well. Do we have bumps on the road? Of course, that's the part of being human experience. But then we all know when those bumps are, we help out. Like, okay, what's going on in your life? How can we support you? That's what we're here for. And overall, as a group, we're doing amazing because we're still there for each other. I think one of the things that I want to kind of summarize, like what I already said, please do not be afraid to ask for what you want. But first, before you ask for what you want, you need to know what you want. Get a clarity on that. So that's one kind of relies on the other. Identify, clarify what you want, and don't be afraid to ask for what you want. And work. Show up every day, messy, consistently, and do the work one day at a time. All your dreams will come true. Would you might have to get a different route together? Possibly. Quite possibly, but hey, that's what the fun is. And the only other thing that I really like that you said, surprise party. We never know which route we're going to end up taking. But as long as you know where your end result is, doesn't even matter how you get there. The other route maybe you haven't even seen when you started because you were not even far enough in the journey is even better than what you initially was thinking. That's what people forget. Like whatever you see at the beginning of your journey, no matter what journey that is, you're not going to be able to see too far in there. But once you get on in the moving, you say, "Oh, I didn't even think I can do that. Oh, I didn't know if it's possible, if that it was even possible. Oh, I didn't know I'm going to meet that person and introduce me to this person." Or and it just builds up, and here next thing you know, your dreams are a lot closer than you can even imagine.
Yes. So be willing to be surprised. How can it turn out even better than I can imagine?
Yeah. I think I brought it up because you love that. What if something what you imagine can even be better than you could possibly imagine? And I think that's one of the things I'm going to leave the Jenny's Way listeners, like, just think about it. What if what you envision and imagine could be even so much better that you could possibly dream of? Then what? Don't you want to live that life?
I do.
I do. I want to live that life. I want to live the life of the dreams that maybe 3 or 4 or 5 years ago weren't even possible because I didn't see that path. But now we do.
Yes.
And we're there for each other to say, why do you think it's dreaming too big? It's not. It's your dream. Then let's just go for it. We will support you.
Yes. And you have permission to change your mind.
Yes. You have permission to change your mind. Anything I didn't ask you that you would like to contribute today, or?
No, this was a lovely conversation. I think that my wish for the world is that people get clear on what they want and they go for it.
Mm-hmm.
Ask, receive, and give. Those are the keys.
Is it really that simple?
It's simple, not easy.
But, yeah.
Simple, not easy. Yes, that's simple. It's a choice. What happens is that our egos bring up all those unconscious ancestral patterns, religious patterns, world patterns, fear patterns, and they're unconscious. Mm-hmm. So until we become aware that, oh, I'm not feeling myself or my best self, I need to fill myself up with a little joy. It might be a conversation with Jenny. It might be a glass of fresh, safe drinking water.
Mm-hmm. Simple things.
Simple.
Makes a difference. How do people can find you, Mare? And
you can find me at connectionproject360.com. And that's also the name of the podcast. So if you want to listen to the podcast, I recommend listening to the second episode because that tells you the history of how everything got started and what we do.
Nice. All right, let's support Mare, and she's amazing, and she's spreading love all over the world, one person at a time. That makes a huge difference. Thank you for coming on Janie's Way. Always pleasure, and let's treasure those moments and time to spend together.
Agreed. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. I hope the conversation with Mare left you inspired. Remember, it's all about getting real with yourself, finding joy, staying accountable, and mastering your energy. Life surprises will come your way, but that's the game. Embrace them, evolve, and keep moving toward those big dreams. And hey, don't just sit on this. If this episode brought you value, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Spread the love, subscribe, and keep showing up for yourself. Until next time, keep crushing it and living life Jenny's way. See you.